Wow. 9 years ago, in this very gym, 16-year-old TylerPath, 115 pounds, decided I wasn't happy with myself and I'm gonna start working out. And this was the very first gym that summer of sophomore year, going to junior year of high school, where me and I had a gym partner, Michael, we got it done here. I remember I started working out, it's like probably the first 25-pound dumbbells I ever grabbed in my life. I look up a six-pack shortcut workout, just try out a bunch of different workouts I'd find on YouTube. And then these stairs right here, I was trying to get fast for track and field, so I would do stair jumps. I believe I got in like 5 or 6 jumps. Let's see how many I can do now. See if I still got it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I got 3, I don't know. It's kind of scary after not doing this in a while. And every day, 8 a.m. on the dot, every summer I'd be here, getting it done. And I remember me and my friends, we would jokingly call this place the Mecca. We'd be like, hey, you wanna go to the Mecca? Just because in many ways, just like how Gold's Gym Venice was to competitive bodybuilders in the golden era, for me, this was it. This is where we started, you know? This is kind of where everything began too, the spark really ignited. It's crazy being back here. You can get the nice little scenic lighting and everything here too. And honestly, over the past 9 years now, I've only been out of the gym for maybe a month at a time with 3 big injuries. So when I say 9 years, I like really mean 9 years of consistent working out 5 to 7 times per week. But man, it's crazy. What a blast through memory lane. Here's the 5 lessons I learned from lifting for over 9 years. Let's get into it. So the first lesson I learned after training for over 9 years is that in the beginning, pretty much anything will give you better results. You've probably heard of newbie games before where in your first, let's call it like 3 to 5 months training, pretty much strength is gonna be going up really easily. You'll probably see some sort of muscle gain within the first 3 months. And I think in the beginning, a lot of people get used to improving at that rate. On the fat loss side, I think with the first 10 pounds lost was way easier than the last 10 pounds. And I think the big thing here is you want to use that momentum to convince yourself to be consistent and build a habit of fitness that will then carry on for hopefully, you know, years and years down the line. So my advice in your first few months, focus more on making sure your form is correct rather than upping intensity and going all the way to failure. Think about it as intent with your form over failure. Because at the end of the day, if you focus on form first, you're gonna build a solid foundation that's gonna help you avoid injuries. And also, because this is the beginning, you're probably gonna see a lot of strength gains anyways. So I'm back at the crib because lesson number 2 is other than protein powder and creatine, don't waste your time and money on any other supplement. Ultimately, supplements are in the name. They supplement a good nutrition protocol, but they are by no means necessary for muscle growth. Even protein powder creatine, I would say this is completely optional. If you don't want to take it, don't take it. I think protein powder can be especially valuable if you don't track protein or calories currently, because it kind of just acts as almost an insurance policy to make sure that you're at least, you know, getting like 20 grams of protein for that one shake. On top of that, if you do struggle with hitting your protein intake, then this is also super helpful. And I think a misconception is that protein powder like tastes bad, but there are good tasting protein powders out there. From cheaper options like this to clear whey that actually even like tastes like juice. Now, a really new one that just came out is this Marvel version, clear whey isolate and berry watermelon. Got a little Spider-Man on there too. I like clear whey for the summer because it's like more refreshing. And moving on to creatine, I personally wait 1 year before taking creatine because roughly like 4 out of 5 of you guys will notice a difference to your muscular endurance if you take creatine consistently. However, I think it's important to prove to yourself that you can build muscle without any supplements, especially creatine, before you actually consider taking it. And in terms of the supplements outside this, so outside protein and creatine, I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. Sure, something like citrulline malate might increase your pump, and taking pre-workout with caffeine is gonna make you super zooted. And the thing with taking pre-workout that is stimulated is, I think it is a slippery slope to getting a caffeine addiction, which is awful for your energy and mental health. In actuality, it's exactly like you being dependent on a drug. Now with that in mind, of course, if you're interested in supporting my page and you want some protein powder or creatine,
you can use code TPATH for 50% off right now through the weekend. That is TPATH. It's no longer Path, TPATH.
maybe try out this new Marvel flavor.
This is what it feels like.
Ooh. Now, lesson number 3 is the most important factor to seeing results is time. Let's say you're currently close to 200 pounds and you want to lose 30 pounds. So you set yourself the goal, I'm gonna lose 30 pounds in 10 weeks, so roughly 3 pounds per week. So you start dieting, start doing some cardio, and after 10 weeks, you lose a grand total of 10 pounds. You realize, damn, it's gonna be harder than I thought. Now, a lot of people get discouraged and just end up quitting. Maybe they hit a plateau and then just end up going back to their old ways. But the thing is, you still lost a good 10 pounds across 10 weeks. That is 1 pound per week, which is still huge. In fact, going slower with your weight loss goals is usually a healthier and more sustainable approach. But people just tend to get impatient. They end up treating this fitness thing as more of a fad or a means to an end. So that 200-pound person that wanted to lose 30 pounds that ended up losing 10 in 10 weeks, had they just kept on going for another 4 to 5 months, they still would eventually get to their goal, because at the end of the day, they're still losing weight. Sure, it may have taken a grand total of 6 to 7 months, but once you get to your goals, it's not like you just throw everything out the window and just go back to your old habits. No, you still have to maintain your physique. Hopefully by then you enjoy working out, you enjoy eating healthy, you enjoy doing cardio. And I guarantee for anyone who succeeds in fitness, there's a certain level where they have to personally accept, like, this is a lifestyle and I'm gonna make the most of it, because it is a great lifestyle to live. And the moral of the story is, the more time that you give yourself, the better outcomes you're gonna have. That fitness person on social media that you really admire their physique, they've probably put in like several years of work under their belt, slowly building their physique over time. And I tell you, anyone that you've seen in the gym who has seen drastic results, it doesn't have to be like they're super ripped or anything, but they just really changed their body. I guarantee they approach fitness as an ongoing lifestyle. Take, for example, one of my clients from my one-on-one fitness coaching program. We started on New Year's Day with the goal to lose roughly 30 pounds, starting at just roughly around 195 pounds. Now, instead of giving him a super aggressive diet that he probably would have a hard time sticking to, I told him, hey, let's keep this chill, let's approach this more sustainably. I'll give you the goal to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. It can be within that range. It's all you gotta aim for. And while it's really good to track, I think it's also good to be a little bit intuitive about it. I told him, consume more lean protein and vegetables, make sure you're moving more, so doing cardio or just commuting by foot. He lives in the city. And of course, be consistent with your working out routine, so you have that habit ingrained at you at the very least. And that last part shouldn't be hard, because lifting's the fun part, After 10 weeks, he loses a grand total of 10 pounds. And I remember having a call with him, and I told him, look, you're losing weight consistently, you feel good about it too, let's not change anything, let's just keep on going. And then finally, 25 weeks later, on June 16th, after 6 months and 16 days, we finally hit our goal of losing roughly 30 pounds, landing him at 165.1 pounds. So if you're currently not seeing results as quickly as you'd like, chances are that it might just be an expectation problem and you're just not giving yourself enough time. And of course, if you're serious about your fitness goals and you want more personal guidance to get there, I recommend you apply to my exclusive one-on-one fitness coaching program. It is in the link in my description. Fourth lesson I learned is avoid all injuries at all costs. If someone was to ask me, what is your max squat, bench, deadlift? I wouldn't be able to tell you, because I haven't tested my 1-rep max in years. At the end of the day, no amount of ego lifting is ever worth the risk of getting injured. But unfortunately, this is something that many wouldn't understand until it eventually happens to them. Back in 2016, I decided after roughly a year of working out, I wanted to start deadlifting, because it was cool putting on 225 on the bar, 4 wheels, right? And instead of taking my time learning proper form, watching a bunch of videos to basically make sure I'm doing things correctly on pretty much the most important exercise to not get injured on, I thought, I've been working out for a year, let me just jump into it. And to my surprise, I was fine. I actually got pretty good at it too. I worked up to 4 sets of 315 for 5 reps pretty consistently on my lower body days. And I was in high school at the time. I was like 16 years old, so you know, I would show my friends, and of course they would be like, oh, like, you know, your back is rounding and stuff like that. But I didn't really listen to them. I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing my thing until it wasn't fine. I remember one day I went for a rep. I felt a sharp pain. Instantly, I knew what happened. I'm like, oh, my low back something is not right here. So I went home, and you know, I still felt tightness in my back, and it would hurt every time I bent down. I'm like, okay, let me take a couple of days off. Like this, I can't do anything right now. I remember a couple of days passed, and it would still hurt when I bent down. So I'm like, okay, I think this is something pretty serious. So I went to the doctor, who recommended me to go see a PT, and the PT suspected that I injured one of my facet joints in my low back, and I was out from doing any low back bearing exercises for 2.5 months. And I remember at the time, you know, my 16-year-old self thought, oh, this sucked, you know, injuries are terrible, but it's inevitable if you start lifting, right? And you know, I'll be fine after 3 months. But what I didn't know was that one injury, that just one mistake that I made on that one fateful day would impact the rest of my life forever. Because till this day, 8 years later, my lower back has never been the same. And I don't squat, I don't deadlift, I don't even barbell bench that consistently anymore because my low back would flare up. And ultimately, that's why I make so many videos on how to do things properly, and I always preach that you need to learn good form. It is the first thing you do when you start lifting. And the fifth tip, it's not even a lesson because I've known this from the start, is stay natural. There's not many things that are more important than your health, and to start taking PEDs and throw that away for the allure of achieving something great is ridiculous. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that you need to take PEDs in order to achieve a great physique, because that's just not true. There are many examples of people who are completely natural that have like wonderful physiques. And for those that do take PEDs that you see in the gym or see on social media, likely you're not seeing the downsides of it, right? It's not worth it at the end of the day. So above anything else, know this, stay natural. Tyler's always gonna preach for you to be natural. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope I help you guys speed run the whole learning process to lifting. And all that I ask you to do is leave a like, potentially consider using my codes if you're gonna get something. Hit subscribe if you wanna level up your physique, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Stay natty, people.